What's up, y'all? Welcome back for another week of Ask Me How I Know, the podcast where I let you know exactly how I know that healing is possible, magic is real, and love is the answer. I am your host, Coach Ebony said, and happy Gregorian New Year. Yeah, we are firmly feet planted in 2025, and child, I don't even know. I don't even know. This week's episode is about the power of storytelling. And I have so many stories that I want to tell. And I also kind of wanted to just, shoot the shit with y'all a little bit in the spirit of not over preparing. The last 2 weeks ago, our episode 11 talked about decolonizing perfectionism. And in so doing that, I didn't over prepare, but I still wanted to check in because there's just some things on my heart that I want to share with this budding community of listeners that is developing, and also share some of the reflections of how 2024 really set things in motion for what is coming in 2025, and me um, setting some intentions, choosing my words for empowerment and guidance to explore and experiment within for 2025, setting up a roadmap uh, for my plans and goals, and also just kind of being easy with it all, like holding it lightly to say that, I am not going to drive myself full worrying about execution. And I really want to focus this year on intention. And yeah, so this episode is really me sharing my story of what the hell was going on with me in 2024 and how I got here. So this this morning I went on a hike to a nature preserve that is literally 11 minutes away from my house. And it is the first time since I relocated to Charlotte, that I have been to this nature preserve. Now, when I was in Maryland, I downloaded an app called All Trails, and All Trails gives you amazing guidance and references and referrals for trails and hiking all over the country. And I started to look at different hiking locations in Maryland where I was at, but like I was in my Yawarage, and in that year, um, being out wandering around in the woods is not, it's one of those things that's prescribed or not encouraged for Yawos to do. And so I kind of felt uneasy about being in my whites and being out wandering in the wilderness, in the woods, even if it is on a public trail or whatever, just me and Avery. So I did not do that, but I set plans in place and had every intention to really delve into hiking when I moved to Charlotte. The summertime came and I was still in my whites. I did not complete my Yaoraje until the first week in October of 2024. And then it was like holiday season, wintertime. November was a shit show. I was definitely dealing with like the grief from the election process and just everything that the year had been. There was some stagnancy and stuckness and in the slowing down that was happening in November. And then December was like, go gadget holiday time. So I started the year this morning by actually tapping into the app and finding out that this particular nature reserve is like 4 miles away from my house, and was beautiful. So I went on this walk, just me and the schnoodapoo, me and Avery. It was like a 3 mile loop through this nature preserve. It was beautiful. Met a couple of folks on the trail, just, hi and bye. Hikers are very friendly and helpful, and, people speak and they just keep it moving. So it was great. But just me and my dog and the woods it was like church. It felt good in my body to be outside, to be outdoors, and to be doing this thing. And because I'm using the app, what I did was I shared my location with my best friend, Erica, who y'all met a couple of weeks ago. I shared my location with her in the app, which also gives her like the details of the walk and like the pictures that I took and everything that I uploaded in the app is something that you can share. So that was really cool. When I was finished, I was having a recombobulation station moment in my car where I like kind of call all my parts back to me and like feel whole and complete in the journey. And I was sitting there and I was like, I live in Charlotte, North Carolina. Like, what? It literally was, I was today years old when I think it landed and all came into me at once. The fact that like I felt grounded and present as like a resident in this place. And, about 6 months into a move or major relocation, I guess that's when things start to really click that like, I live here. I'm not in my whites anymore. So I'm, clearly rocking color. I went and got, my nails did with the red for the new year. And like, I'm playing in my makeup again and just kind of reconfiguring my life in accordance with the me that I have become, the me that I am becoming, really looking forward to meeting new parts of myself as they develop. And some of those tried and true core parts of self that are really eager to shine and be seen are starting to present themselves in some really beautiful ways. And I'm grateful for that. And so as that's happening, and there's talk of like the holidays and New Year's, and like, let me just say this. I'm not a huge Christmas person because I don't have children to share the magic with, right? The littles are not in my immediate purview. So I don't really get too excited about Christmas and haven't for a long time for maybe a number of different reasons. Capitalism has a lot to do with it, but I'm not a huge Christmas person. I have kind of a dicey relationship with the Gregorian New Year and tend to start my New Year intention setting and planning around my birthday at the end of September, September 29th, Libra Stellium, gang, gang. I start to plan then for what the year ahead will be according to like my solar return. But I also understand that many things in the way that we're set up in society start over on January 1. And so I began thinking about that. I attended intentionally 6.0 with my bestie, Erica Diane, which was a beautiful intention setting workshop where she laid out different ways to incorporate human design and astrology and tarot to create some guidance in the road mapping for the year. And there were some other tools that I used in setting myself up for the preparation. So like September was the early visioning of like, let me see what I want. I was preparing some things in my personal life as it relates to insurance and financial planning, with work about, my job description and responsibilities and forecasting for 2025 and what's coming down the pike. What my plan is, creating a production and program calendar for work. So that started at the end of September, and also related to my coaching practice, Honeysuckle Creatives, and my consulting work as a cultural strategist, facilitator, and speaker, as well as transformation life coach. Hey, it's me. That's what brought you here. All of that stuff I've been thinking about since September. So as I say that, no wonder I was tired as hell in November. But I started putting those things, top of mind. I went to intentionally on the 30th of December, and that gave me a more esoteric, but I think a more spiritual tether or a place to connect all the work that I had started in September, the practical, logical Capricorn rising of my planning and processing and strategy started to connect to a more spiritual and cosmic strategy where those things started to like touch on each other in a way, make some connections that really sparked some creativity for me to sit down and roadmap. Human design, astrology, tarot, these are technologies or different tools that one might be able to use in order to start from where you are, right? So without feeling like, oh, I'll get there one day, or, perhaps feeling just kind of overwhelmed and not interested in the process at all and needing a place to start wherever you are. And that's where I was on December 30th, is sitting at my dining room table with colored markers and pens and my passion planner. This is my 2023-24 passion planner. My new passion planner is in the mail. It's on its way. But this guy I sat down with and really just started to roadmap some things about what I wanted for my best life, what I want for my coaching practice, and then also made some efforts in laying out my goals and plans for what I'm looking at for my professional goals at my actual job at CHJL. So yeah, that was on the 30th. That's where we started. So another tool that I use is an app that I found that allows me to voice memo journal and then gives me AI prompts to follow up with or prompt me to explore my thoughts further in the journaling. And then it produces articles, writings, resources that are related to the themes and topics that I mention in my journaling. This app is free 99. It is called Untold, and it's it's so good it scares the shit out of me. Like, Untold is such a solid app that terrifies me because of how it's using AI, and I wonder who or what is on the other side of this app that is mining this particular information about me to return to me these very useful resources and frameworks that help me get focused. It's like the double-edged sword of like how much water and energy is being consumed or wasted on the technological side of this in order for me to have the advantage of, you know, artificial thought partnership in my very, egoic individual existence in my own personal reality. It's kind of wild. There's some cognitive dissonance there if you haven't picked that up. But so I hesitate in being like, oh my God, Untold is a shit. But Untold is the shit, and it's also AI. And I mean, I don't know. Do what you will with that information based off how you use it. But for me, it has been extremely helpful. What I was able to do was kind of talk through a 2024 reflection month by month off the top of my head of what my year looked like into Untold, and talk about what I wanted to focus on for 2025 based off all of this work that I did in Q4 of 2024. And Untold basically laid out a roadmap for how to achieve these goals, personal, professional, and spiritually, for 2025. So when I say that the girl is ready, the doll is ready. Okay, she's ready for whatever 2025 has in store, and at the same time, totally understand that I have absolutely no control over any of that shit. And as ready as I think I am, oh, I can't prepare. We don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's the world is. Listen, the news, one of the great agreements I made with myself in November, in order for me to not really slip off the edge of the earth, was to not engage intentionally with the news cycle, if at all possible. And so I have not until inauguration day. And I've tried very hard to do that aside from the news that I see on threads. So with a lot of things muted on my threads, just some of the essentials have peeked through, and what is making it across my timeline is somewhat terrifying. And yet she persisted because we got to keep living. Yeah, those are some of the, so intentionally gave me references for astrology, human design, tarot pulls. Untold gave me a roadmap to 2025, and then I sat down and wrote out each category for work, personal, and business of where I wanted to focus this year. But the priority now in each of those things, I know it sounds like a lot. That's a lot. I was maybe not being kind to myself and was like, you need to do all of this. You need to stay focused. And I'm like, girl, that's a lot of different things. And so what I did was I went back to my end of 2023 roadmap for this passion planner. And I looked at everything that I said I wanted to do. My be anything, do anything, have anything list, wrote it all down and came up with a roadmap and all these things. And there was not a ton of stuff on here that I planned for. Like, for instance, relocating to Charlotte, not on my bingo card for ever in life. Never thought. So especially 2024, did not see that coming. I was trying to buy a house in Maryland in 2024 and had literally put in an offer on a house in May after literally it was like May 5th where I was like, I'm not going to buy a house. And then May 15th, I had put an offer on a townhome. that ended up falling through because it wasn't the right time, because I was forcing it, because it was not for me, whatever. And I had to pivot. I had to go into meditation and prayer and do my research and do some Googles and try to find a city that was going to give me what I was looking for instead of me trying to force my desire into the DMV or the Baltimore County area. Which is what I had spent 2 years doing. I was literally trying to force myself to like Maryland because I said that I was moving there when I left Albuquerque in 2022. And I was committed to making it work. I was committed to making it work, even though I did not enjoy Baltimore, even though I did not find what I was looking for in the way of housing and community and events. Not to say that it doesn't exist. I just did not find it. There were other things that were for me in Maryland as it related to spending healing and quality time with my immediate family, with my parents and my older brother, and like really figuring some things out for myself. My Ocha ceremony and my Yawaraje, like those things were essential, would not trade them for the world. And I would not have been in a position to have those experiences if it were not for me, myself of 2022 saying, we're moving to Baltimore. It's powerful to set an intention and also to not be completely attached to the outcome, right? So it's kind of like you taking one step and then allowing the universe to take 10 more steps toward that direction. That there's some knowing that I do not have cognitively, but there's also something internal that's guiding and pulling me. So this ability to focus on loving and trusting myself, trusting the me of today, of right now, has been essential along this journey. But when I look back at the goals that I set, I was like, damn, you be having a lot of goals. You want to do a lot. And that's not a judgment or a criticism. It's just like an observation, like, yes, ma'am. And these goals should scare the shit out of me a little bit. Your goals, if they don't make you a little bit nauseous and at least a little bit scared, they're not big enough. Dig deeper, dream bigger. You know what I mean? Like make it something that like rattles, shakes you from the inside and creates some verb or some action, some fire, you know? So there were some of those big scary goals in here and I did not achieve them all. Some of them I completely missed the mark on or forgot that I ever even wrote down. However, everything that I accomplished in 2024 is moving me closer to everything that I desire. Gradually, patience became really important in that process for me as well. So yeah, reflecting on 2024, the move is major. Completing my year in white, nuts. Picking up this podcast, insane. Okay, I've been talking about podcasting for I don't know how long, and it's crazy because like, they'll eat you up out here in these social media streets about being a podcaster in 2024, 25, y'all. I mean, like, also, I get a little freaked out about the vanity metrics of it all. I'm like, recording these videos that I thought that I was streaming the Spotify audio podcast. When I record the visual for Spotify podcasts, I thought it was automatically uploading to YouTube. It is not. The video files only upload to Spotify. They don't have another video server. So I have to go back in and kind of recreate a YouTube channel or like update my YouTube channel so that the podcast videos are there, which kind of completely overwhelmed me when I figured it out and kind of freaked me out a little bit because I'm like, oh, now I got to make like intro cards and make it look interesting. And then there's the whole like, how do I navigate being YouTube? Too much. So it's when the tech gets too techy, Auntie will shut down until I have space and capacity to go and like figure a thing out. So bear with me on getting the videos to YouTube. But the celebration, the win here is that in this year, I was able to complete 11 episodes. And the first 4 of them happened in the early spring when I decided that I was really going to make it work. And then, life was life and I was trying to buy a house and then ended up relocating and then ended up getting resettled and all those things. But when I landed, I put my feet under me, I did some consecutive episodes and this is the 12th at the top of 2024, and I'm really excited about that. So I'm celebrating it. And so if you're listening to this, I have much gratitude to you for that. I realize that this week's episode is a lot about me, but I'm sharing this with the hope with two intentions. One, that it will encourage and inspire someone to keep going, to set the intention, to write the thing down, to speak it into existence, to record the voice note, to record the podcast, to record the video, to create the content, whatever it is, to apply for the job, to apply for the fellowship, to apply for the grant, to fill out the application, to say yes to you, to your dreams. Just do it. Do it scared, right? But do it. So there's that. Another reason that I'm doing this is because, if we talk about this work of liberation, I talk about this work of liberation and how we get free from the inside out. One of the tools of oppressive forces and systems is to erase our stories, our existence, or to sweep us into the margins of the world, right? The story of the world, the story of society, and to frame us in the context of stereotypes. And there is so much of that goes on in media, in the social media sphere, in just the way that we communicate with one another digitally, the violence of misogynoir against Black women in particular, that our very existence is like, I don't know. I'm tired of the world trying to like humble Black women. I'm tired of it. I'm so sick of it. Like, I'm done. I've never been with the shits, but like, I've also never been more exhausted and over it than I think I am now. And a lot of that came in the wake of the election results, or even just the announcement of the Harris campaign made me sigh a deep, heavy Negro spiritual sigh. Like, here we go, because it's like we catch it on all sides as Black women. The criticism, the desire to humble us, the desire to take us down a peg, the judgment, the exploitation, the possessive, patriarchal control and domineering narratives that just don't want us to exist freely is exhausting. And so telling our stories, rewriting the narratives of who we are, like, can't nobody tell my story better than me. Can nobody tell my truth but me, right? Like, it's impossible. So external narratives, other people's opinions and judgments and critiques about who you are, what you should do, what is acceptable or allowed is it's harmful in a very particular way that affects everyone. But I'm invested and interested in dismantling or affecting great change, liberating, if you will, Black women from the particular shackles and harm that is being inflicted upon us as a collective. And that happens with as many Black women as possible moving into a space of self-love, self-awareness, self-leadership, and just full self-energy to be able to vibrate on a frequency that exists in a place that that negates the stereotype. Like, the only way to beat a stereotype is to just exist in your truth. I want as many of us as possible to be able to tell our truths. So are there a lot of podcasts in the world? Yes. Are there a lot of red pill bros who are speaking their opinions as truths and judgments and criticisms into microphones and putting it on the internet for mass consumption? Yes. And because that is the case, I feel like I have a responsibility to sit my ass in this chair in front of this camera with this ring light and tell you what it's actually like in my very real African American ass life. Right? Like, I don't know. I think that's as simply as I can put it. And it's so wild because for a very long time, I've spent perhaps the past 5 years, especially since I've had this component around being an entrepreneur, the business aspect of this work and trying to engage social media from like a marketing perspective really got me fucked up in the game, because it did something to distort my perception of myself, to make me feel like there was some things that I needed to do or perform, or a way that I needed to package myself in order to make myself appealing or attractive to a certain audience, so that they would trust me. And then if I was trustworthy, then they might decide that they wanted to work with me. And then if they wanted to work with me, then they would also need to pay me. And then when they paid me, then I would have the money that I needed to pay my bills so that I could live. Right. And that's kind of an ass backwards way of going about life, because I have a right to housing and income. Right. Like I don't have to prove myself trustworthy in order to jump through all 8 of them damn hoops in order to get to the place where my bills are paid and my business is viable. Like, what? But it's been like a 5-year journey of trying to figure that out. And in that 5-year loop, I was also just recreating a little microcosm of the corporate mindfuck of, corporate extraction and extortion of Black women who are underpaid and overworked and exploited and extracted from our creativity to our emotional labor that we have to do, all these different ways that we continue to be robbed under capitalism of our value, right? By being like the masses have agreed to undervalue Black women at all costs. And so everything that we do to assert ourselves, to say that we are worthy, to assign value, to establish ourselves, to self-authenticate, to love ourselves openly, to heal, is to be vulnerable, to be engrossed in the divine and ecstatic feminine identity of who we are, to be the mothers, sisters, daughters, weavers, sorceresses, witches, to be the full expression of our true and divine selves, is like the most radical thing that you could do. It's like the most radical thing that you could do. It's subversive. It's necessary. It is why Audre Lorde said that self-preservation is an act of political warfare, because it upends the entire concept that Black women exist to be bred and worked to death. And so when we live in a way that is outside of that narrative, we are radical. And then all of the different minions that do the bidding of the machine come at you with all these daggers, right? It's like giving the spirit of Harriet and being a fugitive, right? And they send them dogs after you. Like, yeah, I don't know. I think I'm going off on a tangent right now, but what I'm saying is, like, it is important to tell our stories. It is important to tell your story. It is important for you to live a life where you get to express your desires and fears and needs and wants and emotions, and where you are not doing that labor for everybody else around you and it never gets done for you. That literally manifests in our bodies as disease. It manifests as autoimmune disorders, right? And it, one way or the other, will cost you your life, right? So I would rather, if I must die, I would rather die get it. I would rather it be that way. I would really rather it be as a radical act of loving resistance to the machine. That is how I choose to live my life. So, and I guess to some people that makes me a threat, right? And it's important to name the intent. While I'm naming the intentions for 2025, it's important for me to name that intention as well. That I intend to be free. I intend to live freely. And I make strategic decisions in my life and in my business with that intention, right? That's what I intend to do. And that is why I move the way that I do, which sometimes means that it's a little bit slower. Sometimes it's very fast. Sometimes it's very quiet. So yeah, I might relocate again. Since I left Albuquerque, New Mexico, I've lived in 3 cities in 2 states. And it made me, I thought about that because I got some text messages from folks who were like, oh, girl, what's your address? And I'm kind of like, why you want to know? Because not that I'm hiding out or nothing like that, but I don't know if these are people. There's definitely a new version of me. Okay. And I'm curious about who has the privilege of knowing this version of me. And, I have not ever been a braggadocious person. Like, I don't feel, and I think that has also been the work of the perfectionism and the humble pie that America forces us to eat, and socialization and patriarchy and all those things. Like, you don't want to seem conceited. You don't want to seem, people won't like that if you feel, you don't take up too much space or whatever. But y'all, she ill, you know? Sometimes I see things on social media that people are do to create content, and I'm like, I did that I was doing that in 2008. Oh, I remember back in 2006 when I did. Oh, that was in 2010 when I had. Oh, and part of that has to do with the fact that ain't no spring chicken. So, like, my daddy used to say, keep living. You know what I mean? So to the Gen Alpha and Gen Z folks, like, keep living, keep creating, keep doing it. But also, like, I've done a lot of shit. This work of becoming a coach, accepting this particular skill set in my journey, honing this skill set to be a coach, to work with people, is not something like, I did not just fall out of a coconut tree. Okay. It exists in the context of all that ever was. Okay. They made fun of sis, but she was spitting, right? I have had 25 years across multiple markets, working in everything from marketing and communications to community engagement to nonprofit administration to wholesale service, food and beverage, like creative or performance art. I've been a singer, a poet, an author. I've done a lot of shit, and I've done it very well. I've been excellent at a lot of things in my life. So as a coach, it's not that I was like, you know what, I need a hustle. I need to go get me, I'm gonna just go get me a certification. I'm gonna tell people I'm gonna coach business people on how to be business. That's not what I do. Like, at all. That's the coaching came as like a culmination of helping me consolidate my skills, my experience, and then apply it to a set modality or a skill set and a particular type of training for me to get the best benefit, to help coach partners reap the best benefit or to achieve the success that they were seeking and looking for. So it's been just, again, kind of wild these past 5 years trying to figure out how to make that an offer that allows my light to shine and attract the people who are meant to work with me. And during that time, I've been able to really start to focus on, like, but who do I want to work with? Who am I here to serve? And how do I do that? And what I realize is that a lot of it is just giving it away, like being myself, not like sneak attack coaching people, like obviously with consent, but offering free coaching sessions to folks, showing up in self energy with my friends and colleagues, being open to be a lifelong learner, being intentional and mindful in my own life, applying my healing work and journey of what I have learned, and really being committed to that, like tasting my own medicine. It's kind of like Wild Seed, Octavia Butler's book, Wild Seed. Anyanwu is a shapeshifter and healer. Anyanwu has to take the poison so that she can be the remedy, right? So she has to take the medicine first so that or take the poison first so that she understands the illness so that she can then reverse it and heal herself, right? So I say that healers can really only heal to the extent that we have healed, right? So I have to do my work in order to be able to show up and do work for others. And that's what I've been doing. And that shit does not happen in, 48 hours. Like it takes years. It takes years and it exists in the context of all that came before you, all that has ever been and all that will be, right? So this is such an expansive time in this year of 9 and, you know, all the things that 2025 promises. And at the same time, like on a singular level, I feel um, a lot of gratitude in my reflection and some necessities to open up my throat chakra to speak freely, to lessen the judgment and criticism that I have about myself and what I say, to really just be more of myself, you know? Something else that I wrote down over the past couple of weeks over the break, so since Christmas, so I've been off since the 17th was our last day at the office. I go back on Monday on the 6th. So I've had this time of reflection and rest and like visiting with family and, all these things. Because of my year in white, with it being like really sacred and like reduced to this time of like prayer, meditation, a lot of solitude, a lot of quiet. I was very quiet during the year. I was very, very quiet. Had kind of I just needed to check in with myself to remember what I like to do. What do I like to do? What do I most enjoy doing? And when I wrote that list, I realized that what I like to do most is actually what I do least. And because I love my work so much and feel really joyful and privileged to be able to do what I love and work with people who I love, who support the passion that I have for coaching and healing, justice and liberation and all of that, I didn't realize that I was still working too much though. I work a lot because I love my work. But what I need to do is strike some balance or find a way to shift away from like, it's okay that you love your work, but it's still work, Eb. Let's get back over here to the things that you enjoy. What brings me joy? So some of the things that bring me joy that I hadn't been doing, one, playing in makeup. I hadn't worn makeup for a year while I was in my yellow year. I didn't take selfies. I wasn't really active on social media. I think I've mentioned that probably several times before. You might be sick of hearing it, but that is the truth. It was great, but also I missed playing in makeup and I had to like relearn how to put on makeup again. And also some of the trends and styles and practices and techniques and things, child, have changed in the past years. So we're like trying new things by just playing in makeup and not like, well, who you getting cute for? Me. Okay. Like, I mean, experimenting, right? Like, oh, what does this color eyeshadow look like? I'm going to put that on. Like, what am I going to wear? Just kind of hang in makeup because I like to do it, right? I like to watch videos or tutorials of the girls beating their faces and the makeup artists doing like full glam and characters. I like it. I like to watch it. I'm not making makeup tutorials. Maybe every now and then, like ever so often, I would get on like live while I do my makeup if I had time before I was supposed to be somewhere, but I'm usually running late when I got to go somewhere. So yeah, you're never really going to see the girl doing a get ready with me video because I'm always running late. Like usually by the time I get in the car, I'm trying to like get grounded from being frazzled before I get to where I'm going. So I don't even have the energy to like take selfies before I leave the house. I usually take a selfie in my outfit after I get home before I take it off. So anyway, that's just one of the things on the list that I like to do. I like to play in my makeup. I'm going to do that more often. Be intentional about playing in my makeup. The hiking and being outdoors. It had been a year, you know, it had been a year of me just taking like short walks around the park, around the pond or whatever with the dog. I'm around the cul-de-sac, around the neighborhood, but not really, getting out in the woods and just like me and the trees, the breeze and the birds and, having those moments with nature, which I call church. I hadn't done that. So started doing that again. Love it. There are some other things on the list that I won't share because they ain't none of your business. And also it's like just a lot of it was stuff that I needed to figure out that I like to do by myself. I like to do these things alone. I do. And sometimes when I'm like really on my alone time, I don't want to talk to nobody about it. I'm not creating content about it. I'm not pulling out my camera. I'm not taking no selfie stick with me. I am just going to go be a human in the world, sitting down at a bar with a book, having a meal. Like, that's what I'm going to do. Or at a table in a corner in a cute little restaurant. That's what I'm going to do. I like to do these things. I like to go into a museum in the middle of the day when it is empty and wander around. And like, maybe there'll be like a school field trip or something like that. And so there's a bunch of little kids running around, like, tearing shit up or whatever. Like, I just, yeah, I don't know. I like what I like. And I'm okay with that. This brings me to one of the things that I am thinking of doing with more intention in 2025. In my best life plan, here's what I will share. I'm going to share this. So, in my best night plan, here are the goals. I'm going to say it. Oh my gosh, I'm saying it out loud. I'm not going to tell you everything about it, but just, whew. Okay. Ebony's best life. This year, I want to go on 12 solo dates. I made a solo date jar. I put 12 activities that I like to do, that I want to do in it. And at the beginning of each month, I will pull an activity and schedule it by the end of that month and go and do that thing. So by the end of the year, I will have gone on 12 super awesome solo dates. Put a pin in that. We're going to come back to it because I have to talk about how that ties into the last thing that I put on this list. Also, I want to run a 5K for my birthday. Now, I don't know if you know this, but I broke my toe when I moved in 2022 that summer. That led to a knee injury from being in a walking boot on the opposite leg. Then I had abdominal surgery that following spring. And then I started to gain some weight. So I haven't really been back in my body in an active and intentional way since then. So my goal is to run a 5K by my birthday in September. That's all I'm going to say about that. How am I going to get there? Focusing on my words for this year. I do not make resolutions, but I do choose words or phrases that I will explore or allow to guide me with wonder and awe as I go through the year, right? So I'm searching for the miracle of when something comes up, hits me like an aha moment that resonates with whatever the word or phrase was for the year. And this year there are two. They are embodiment and vitality. That's what I'm going for. And that's how I'm going to do 12 solo dates and run a 5K by my birthday. Embodiment and vitality. Also, portion control. Oof. Okay. Portion control, I have to say this because I live alone and I cook. I cook down, but I do not know how to make a little bit of food. I cook meals that can easily feed two people, and sometimes I eat them in one sitting. I got to stop doing that shit. Okay. So portion control. That's what it is. That's what it is. Okay. Period. Point blank. That's it. Go outside. Now, that's the hiking. That's the all trails. That's the thing. That's church. We in it. We're locked in. There's no qualms about that. I'm very excited about it. Looking forward to it. This financial focus. I have a financial focus roadmap. I have a financial planner and consultant that I'm working with, even though he kind of gets on my nerves a little bit. His intentions are good and this is what he's good at. So I'm going to let him be good at what he does and not judge the things that I have been judging him for. That's something else that I need to work on this year. But I have the ball in motion. We are set up for success. I have some clear goals about my finances and I'm being deeply focused on them this year, but also balancing them with the having fun and the 12 solo dates and like, all these other things that I want to do as well. So it doesn't feel like all work and no play, because that makes Ebony a dull coach. And then the last thing on my best life list for 2025 is an open heart. An open heart. Now, let me be clear. I am not looking for a mate. Okay. I'm not looking, I'm not even certain that I want one. I most days do not. While I am definitely terminally heterosexual and attracted to men, not many men are attractive to me. So I don't know what it's going to take. I don't know. I told Tony when he did my nails today, I was like, Tony, I don't know. He going to have to come get me. I'm not looking for him. He going to have to come find me. And I don't know if he's going to be able to do that unless he is walking through Home Goods. But also the last man that tried to approach me in Home Goods, I literally ran from. So I don't know how it's going to happen, y'all. But my heart is open. 12 solo dates. Okay. I'm going to come. Now we're back. So open heart, 12 solo dates. I took myself to the movies the other day. Well, okay. So I took myself to the movies the other day. I bought the ticket online on Fandango for a 210 matinee. After fees and servicing, whatever the hell, the ticket was like $16.95. Okay. For a matinee, $17. All right, y'all. So I get to the movie theater. I get a small popcorn and a small icy. And that was another $17. Okay. So we're out here on a $40 day date by myself, and I haven't actually had a meal. I went to go see Wicked. I have thoughts. I'm not going to record them here, but follow me on Threads and you can hear some of the things that I think about what I felt about Wicked. But I took myself on this date and I'm sitting there like, wow, okay, I am really enjoying myself here, eating all my popcorn by myself, drinking my cherry icy down to the bottom, taking the lid off and literally like tap, tap, tap in the bottom to get all the icy out of it. And I'm also like, damn, this was expensive food. I should have made a salad and brought it with me. Maybe next time, Gadget. I'm not above bringing my own food to the movies because that was insane. But I'm thinking about the cost of that and doing that by myself. And like, this is, a little investment of me spending money on me. I spend my money on me. I take care of myself. Self-sufficient. I like nice things. I like to have certain experiences. And so like I said before, I work a lot so that I can have, be, and do the things that bring me joy and enjoyment and also feel like they are fulfilling my purpose and mission for the time that I'm on this planet, child. That's what I'm doing. I'm trying to do my best. Okay. But then I pulled my first date out of the solo date jar. And the first thing that came out of the jar is indoor skydiving, which is another activity that was in my early Charlotte research, things that folks do here. And indoor skydiving, for me to get the full package, well, actually, I get 2 jumps, 2 jumps in the package to upgrade to go higher so that I can jump from a higher level each time, and to get the video and picture package with the discount for the beginning of the new year, like a 15% discount, is $122. It me. I'm not tripping about that $122. But when I look at the state of the social medias and what the men folks say and do around these arguments about these raggedy ass $200 dates and things, it makes me uncomfortable when I think about dating, because as my dear best friend Erica said, she was like, now if somebody pays for both of y'all to go skydiving, if that's like a couple, if that's both y'all, she was like, I mean, that date, those are pussy prices. She called them pussy prices. And I laughed real hard about that because, one, I think I would have to already be intimate with the person that I would want to go indoor skydiving with. That's not like a first date activity at all. That's like a we go together activity that we do. So, and after that activity, absolutely, bust it open. No problem. But that's like a given because you would be my man, my man, my man, right? Not a first date sort of thing. But that goes to say that because I am willing to spend $125, and that's not including what I'm gonna eat that day. I'm gonna cook something. I don't know if I'm gonna take myself out to lunch. I don't know, what my mood is gonna be on that day, but I'm gonna like trick on myself that day, right? On that experience, that experience. So the idea of having like another person's opinion and assessment of the value of that kind of time and experience with me, someone to suggest that it is not worth it, makes my brain feel like it wants to just melt and ooze out of my ear a little bit. Like, why would I want to be around somebody who I have to explain that to? Like, this is something that I want to do. Is a thing that is open to the public for people to be able to go do. And if you want to go do it, you pay the money and then they let you have the experience. And so, you know, it lets me know that people who are having arguments about $200 dates don't do things by themselves. Like, you don't go on a $100 self date. You don't spend money on yourself. I saw somebody say on Threads, like, you know, girl, you're crying over a man who did not buy did not buy underwear, not one time in the year 2024. Right. And so it's just like, I'm not certain how, given all of the things that I have for the intentions and the goals and the planning and what everything that I just talked about where I am in my healing journey and like getting settled into a new city and all of that. Y'all, I am not certain that I have the intestinal fortitude or the interest in navigating the the shitty waters of dating, especially in the online capacity. So again, like I told Tony, my dear nail tech today, he gonna have to come get me because I'm gonna, maybe, I don't know, maybe he'll be somebody who's taken himself on his own date to go indoor skydiving and like we meet on the way to the locker room, child. I don't know what it's gonna have to look like, but it's gonna have to be a clear sign from the universe, from the Orisha, my Ori, everybody gonna have to say that one because whew, it's ghetto. It's so ghetto. And I don't want to be distracted by trying to prove that I am not like the other girls, like I am worthy of fitting into your box or your categories or whatever in order to feel this kind of transactional thing where I become a possession of a man because he deems me acceptable by a standard that is set in comparison to every other woman he's ever met, including his mama and all that other shit. Like, that feels kind of scary to me. And I don't know if that means I have commitment issues or what, but it's a lot of paperwork. And so that is why all I'm saying is that my heart is open heart, and a lot of goals, a lot of intentions, a lot of self-awareness, a lot of things that, a lot of joy, a lot of rest, a lot of self-interest, a lot of napping, a lot of, you know, fierce beats, a lot of fun, a lot of trips. It's very much giving she gone. You know what I mean? Like, I'm ready for act 3, Beyonce. Okay. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know, man. 2025, we're going to see. I don't want to go so far as to say that in 2025, I am going to date intentionally. I will absolutely say in 2025, I am dating the fuck out of myself. Dating the, oh, I am whining and dining. I am luxuriating. It's whatever she wants. I am princessa. Understand that? I am giving me princess treatment all year long. Okay. That's what we're doing. She the queen and the princess at the same damn time. King me. Okay. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say about that. So that's where I'm at for the year. I realize that at any given moment, this shit could turn on a dime. So I'm gonna live as if I'm alive, because I am. So Octavia Butler said, there is no end to what a living world will require of you. Okay. They're not gonna stop. So you don't either. You don't fold. You don't give up. You might rest. But rest is resistance. Remember, because we're resisting being worked to death. So that is a radical act of resistance. Anything that you do to love yourself and care for yourself and be tender and gentle and kind and compassionate with yourself is a radical act of resistance against a machine that seeks to destroy and rob you of your humanity and refuse to acknowledge you for the divine feminine sacred being that you are. So fuck them, you know? Anyway, I'm not going to rant about Wicked because I feel like I've already done too much here, but this was fun. I really enjoyed taking a moment to share a little bit more about where I've been this year. Again, can't nobody tell my story better than me. And I hope you felt like that was at least a little bit interesting, maybe more encouraging. And if I did any part of it right, perhaps a little bit inspiring, that you can absolutely do it. Can you pick up and move it to a different city? Absolutely. You can. It's expensive, but you can do it. It's scary, but it's rewarding, definitely worth it. It's going to take some patience and you being your own biggest fan and strongest advocate and cheerleader, um, and not hating on yourself and literally reassigning the little hater in your head, reassigning them to a different project to let them know that success is actually safe. I don't know. That's what I've been working on over here. Therapy. Yay, therapy. So more things are gone. If you are interested in playing a little game, ask Auntie. Send an email to hello@ebonyicesbooth.com with the subject line Ask Auntie and ask me anything. And I will tell you everything. So there's that. All questions can be kept confidential. You let me know if that's what you want to do, or I'll share your name on the show or whatever. But let's talk. I want to open a line of communication here. Some goals for the podcast this year include like more guests, more chill. I think I'm going to hang a window treatment, maybe some taller plants. I don't know, because this one, we have a new plant baby in the office, but his stand is suspicious. So, we're going to keep it going. I think I'm going to keep recording because I like it here. And YouTube, gonna get on that. If you are someone that you know is good at that and would like to support in the production and editing process of Ask Me How I Know, send an email to hello@ebonyicesbooth.com. My books are open in 2025. I am onboarding new one-on-one coach partners for 3 or 6 month coaching engagements. So hit me up if you want to work. You can schedule your free discovery call for a one-on-one coaching session wherein I promise to listen to you and ask you questions. You do all the talking. The podcast is where you get to learn a little bit more about me and how my brain works and what I think and how I think about it and who I serve and why and how I know that this shit works because it worked for me and it continues to work. And I see it works for my coach partners and people who have shown up for themselves to do the work. If you do the work, it works. So yeah, there's that. Healing is possible. Magic is real. Love is the answer. Happy 2025. And you be light and keep shining. Kayla, you. Bye.